Hello everyone, welcome back to week 17 of NFL predictions. Last week I went 11-5, bringing my total record to 77-57, which is pretty solid. I'm liking how it's going. It's a lot better than it was before. Alright, so let's get started. For this first game, we have our last Thursday night football game of the year, the Jets taking on the Browns. So for this game, Browns looking really good, and I don't think
The Jets.
they can stop the Browns. So that Browns defense is pretty dominant. Joe Flacco's looking pretty good. Sure, he shows an occasional pick, but since that defense is so good, it doesn't really matter too much. And they play the Jets, which is not a challenge. So I think I'm honestly going to take the Browns this week, and let's move on. All right, so for Saturday Night Football, I believe this is also the last Saturday Night Football game. We have the Lions taking on the Cowboys. So for this game, Lions clinching the NFC North Division for the first time. Congratulations, Lions. They take on the Cowboys, which the Cowboys, they lost in a close game against the Dolphins. And I think this is going to be another close game, but I have the Lions just barely eking out a win. All right. And so moving on, we have Patriots taking on the Bills. Patriots took the last game in this series. It was a total shocker. And they take on the Bills, which were going on a hot streak until last few weeks haven't looked as good. But I am going to take them over the Patriots. If it was a better team, I might be inclined to take the other team. But since it's the Patriots, I am going to take the Bills this week. All right, and so for the next game, we have the Falcons taking on the Bears. Falcons looking much better to maybe not so good, because that means Arthur Smith keeps his job, maybe. And they take on the Bears, which this could be close. I think this is going to be a close-ish game, but I am going to take Taylor Heinicke to lead the Falcons to a win in this game. All right, and so the next game we have Raiders taking on the Colts. So for this game, I am going to take the Colts to bounce back after that sad loss last week, because the Raiders offense is really the Raiders defense that's carrying this team, especially last week. Last week it was all the defense, and it looks like they rely on their defense to set up their offense. Otherwise, they don't do so great. And they take on the Colts, who just, I think it was just an off game. It should be a pretty good bounce back game. But again, I could definitely see the Raiders winning this game. All right, and so the next game we have the Rams taking on the Giants. The Giants benching DeVito, and I believe it will continue on this week. And they lost against the Eagles in a close game, but it should not have really been that close. Just the Eagles making some mistakes, like that special teams mistake, stuff like that. And they take on the Rams, who are on fire so far. This team has rebuilt faster than anyone thought they would. And since this is such an easy matchup, I am actually going to take the Rams this week. All right, so for the next game, we have the Cardinals taking on the Eagles. So for the Cardinals losing to the Bears, they take on the Eagles, who they've looked rough. I do not think this Eagle team is the same as they were in the Super Bowl. I don't have them in the Super Bowl at all. But I am going to take them this game purely because they're playing the Cardinals. All right, so for the next game we have the Saints taking on the Bucks. So for the Saints, last week they played the Rams. Yeah, they lost pretty bad. Like the score is a lot closer than it really was, because a lot of it was like trash at the end of the game. They needed a miracle, and they almost had it. And they take on the Bucks, who thoroughly crush the Jaguars. They look like they're not such a good team. I am going to actually take the Saints here. I know it's a bit of a weirder pick, but I think this might just be Baker's downfall game. It seems like he always looks good, and then he's gonna fall apart. And I think this is the game he falls apart, and the Saints are gonna pick up on it and take him out. All right, and so for the next game we have the Niners taking on the Commanders. This game shouldn't be close. Give me the Niners, and let's move on. Should be a pretty good bounce back for Niners too. All right, so the next game we have the Panthers taking on the Jags. I was really tempted, Jaguars. I was really tempted to take the Panthers this week. I had that circled at first, but you're lucky, Jaguars, that I don't think you're that bad. So I am going to take the Jags this week, but I was pretty close to picking the Panthers. So the next game we have the Dolphins taking on the Ravens. So this should be a pretty interesting match. I am going to take the Ravens, but don't be surprised by it if the Dolphins win. I could easily see the Dolphins winning, but I am going to take the Ravens because they have a higher chance of winning. I think that's a smart move to do. All right, so for the next game, we have the Titans taking on the Texans. This could be interesting. This might be interesting. And I am going to take the Texans, but I could, in a world, see a game where the Titans win against the Texans. Because maybe they have this fight with them to defeat the Texans to maybe possibly ruin their chances of winning the AFC South. Because the Colts, Texans, and Jags are all still easily in contention to win that division. So the next game we have the Steelers taking on the Seahawks. Steelers, not sure who their quarterback is. It's Mason or Kenny. It's leaning towards Mason, but we don't quite know. I'm going off the assumption that Mason is the one starting against the Seahawks, and I'm going to take Mason. I think the Seahawks haven't looked so good recently, and I think the Steelers can ride this good momentum with Mason Rudolph to get another win on the road this week. All right, so for the next game, we have the Chargers taking on the Broncos. Broncos benching Russell Wilson to get like some kind of financial compensation. I'm not completely sure. And they take on the Chargers with Easton Stick. So battle of the backups. That's been a common theme this year. And I am going to take the Broncos here because I think this is going to be pretty close. I would not be surprised if the Chargers win. All right, so for the next game, we have the Bengals taking on the Chiefs. This is my upset of the week. I'm picking the Bengals. The Chiefs have disappointed me week after week after week. There have been so many times where I'm like so confident pick the Chiefs and they lose. Can't do it anymore. I'm picking the Bengals. I know the Bengals didn't look good last week, but I think they're going to take it on the Chiefs, and I think the Bengals are going to win. Can't stop me. All right, so the next game we have Sunday Night Football, the Packers taking on the Vikings. I'm pretty sure if either of these teams lose, their playoff hopes lose as well. I am going to take the Packers. Surprisingly, I don't think I would be taking the Packers, but I am. Here I am. I don't think the Vikings look that good, but the thing is about the Packers, Joe Barry might lose that game for them. I could very well see that happening. All right, and that will do it for Week 17 of NFL predictions. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you think it was great prediction video, you should tell me in the comments. If you think it was okay, tell me in the comments. If you think it's bad, tell me in the comments. Any video ideas for me to do in the future, tell me in the comments, and I'll see you next one. Bye.